And then I'm going to share my screen. Can we see my screen? Can everyone see my screen? Can you see
Yes.
Yes.
the slideshow?
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So once again, applied metaphysics training. This is metaphysical science. Metaphysical science is the science of the nature of reality, right? It's about how frequency, light, sound, scalar frequencies affect our reality. And so that's what metaphysical science is. And really, what metaphysical science is at its core is being able to use the sciences. Metaphysical science is meditation, self-guided hypnosis, affirmation, and prayer treatment. Those are the four cornerstones that allow us to shift our brain waves. All of metaphysical science happens after our brain waves are shifted. That's why when we go into these exercises, first thing we do is jump in and we entrain, right? And this is where we're actually applying the metaphysics. And I call it training, but really it's end training. It's end training frequencies. As we do it together, we're in training. It's like one car jump starting the others. As we go through these guided things, the frequency builds and it transfers, right? So today's class is on energetic hygiene. Okay, so energetic hygiene is the conscious practice of clearing, protecting, maintaining the health of your personal energy field, including your aura, chakras, subtle bodies, your Merkaba, to ensure that they're not carrying energies, emotions, entities, or implants that are not your own. It involves regularly cleansing yourself of energetic debris, severing unhealthy attachments, reclaiming scattered soul energy, and strengthening your boundaries so that they can stay aligned with your own soul frequency and source connection. So, energetic hygiene is the intentional practice of cleansing, protecting, maintaining your energy field so that we can stay sovereign. I like this thing. It's like brushing your aura. We get up, we brush our teeth, we get ready for the day. We need to take care of our energy the same way too, because every time we come in contact, I come in contact daily with clients, right? So as we work together, energies that we pick up. It's our nature to pick up and collect karma and trauma, right? Your body literally stores it. And so as we experience things, it's there. So every day we need to be removing what's not ours. And we'll talk about this later about our energetic bank account, like, doing the accounting and knowing what's mine, what's not mine, and getting a clean slate, right? So why is this essential on the healing and ascension path? We are multidimensional beings and we hold energy across lifetimes and timelines, right? So we are incarnated in this body, but your soul incarnates into 1727 simultaneous realities, and that's not even the parallels. So we're across dimensions, densities, timelines, probability fields. We have incarnate, soul level, oversoul, avatar level, rishi. Like there's so much of us, and so this hygiene it collects. And believe it or not, when you start doing the healing work, we're like, oh, how come a weird thing happened? Like, oh, out of nowhere, I'm feeling these weird energies that don't feel like they're mine. We are that biological supercomputer. When we start healing, it's like you're clearing out old files. Well, guess what happens? You make room for new files, and then you start getting in karma and trauma from past lives. It's like you tell the universe, look, I'm ready for more, and it just dumps more on your plate, right? And the more that we don't do that here, they bleed over, right? We experience bleed over from these other lifetimes, because some lifetimes are very ascended, but other lifetimes aren't. There are lifetimes where we have lots of karma and trauma. And so the more cleansing we do, the easier it is to maintain. Otherwise, we end up like the show The Hoarders, where we're packed full of all of this dense energy and we wonder why we can't make it through our space. All right. So without proper hygiene, your field collects energy debris, other people's emotions, entity attachments, unresolved karmic imprints. A clear field, a clear channel is your divine light. And so removing everything that's not yours is how we shine, right? Whenever we have different things going on, their densities, this is what dims our light. And this is why shadow work, this is going to be an upcoming class. Shadow work is one of the most important things. Shadow work is like removing the chains that hold us into this dimension. The shadow work in the movie Peter Pan, I'm sure you might have seen the children's movie Peter Pan. Peter Pan is chasing his shadow, right? He's looking for that shadow. Once he finds the shadow, right, and the shadow's coming from, it's in different dimensions and stuff too, because he's chasing it from Neverland. Once he finds that shadow, then he gets the shadow to stick. And I think in the movie he uses soap, but the idea of soap is we're cleaning, we're doing the work, we're doing the dishes, we're cleaning up, we're addressing that trauma, we're addressing that shadow. Once he gets the shadow to stick, what happens? He gets this happy thought and then off to Neverland. It's the same way. Once we integrate our shadow, we get access to our multidimensional faculties and abilities. Our light body, we're able to move, see, feel, sense in other dimensions, right? It's actually happening simultaneously because we are like, out of your eyes, that's single vector. Multidimensional is multi-vector, so you can put your consciousness in more places that seems like somewhere else, but we're here and there. Anyways, that's a foreshadow. Signs that your energy field needs clearing. Feeling heavy, foggy, anxious. Sometimes when you feel other people's emotions, you're around somebody and you pick up how they feel, and you're like, then you're not even around them, and you feel that way. That's all transference from picking up those energy fields, and that is emotional telepathy. Most people know it as empathy, right? When you feel other people's emotions, you walk in a room, you feel different things. Sometimes when people are arguing, you walk in and you feel like the air is so thick you can cut it with a butter knife. That's your emotional telepathy, and that's the one that comes in typically before the visual one. Good. So feeling fatigue after being around others. This is how we know where it's coming from. Mood swings or emotional outbursts, physical aches without medical cause, repeating old trauma loops or dreams, feeling invaded or not yourself. And this is where I'm sure everyone knows people. It's oftentimes family members or loved ones. When you go around some people for too long, you're just like, oh, you feel so drained and just like they suck the life out of you. This is why, because we have unhealthy energy connections and we're taking on those other people's emotions. We're because your body wants to attune and harmonize, right? We like naturally we want to harmonize. So when we go into a disharmonic environment, we harmonize into a disharmonic being, right? And so this is where this happens, and it comes down to our hygiene. A lot of times the hygiene is happening because we love, we care, so we open up our emotional field. So have you ever noticed some people, they talk to you, they just want to dump all their problems on your lap, and then all of a sudden you just like completely drained? It's because we care, we allow that to happen. We give access to our energy field through emotion. So, what are we connected to energetically? There are unconscious energy cords with people, places, or past events. There's also ones with objects and like group consciousness. And we'll talk about that. That's a more advanced class. There is ancestral trauma and soul contracts. There are past life fragments and karmic loops. There are environmental imprints from spaces or objects, things that happened, energy practices, ley lines, things like that. When you go to sacred sites and you feel like charged and buzzed, or you go to places that feel like they're haunted or it's spooky, it's because of the imprints that have happened there based on the karma. Karma just means action, right? Like depending on what happened there, is the karma. And so there's also the collective frequency. I touched on that, the fear grids, scarcity, shame, things like that. And then there's entities and astral interference. I try not to talk about entities too much because in the training and in the things we deal with them, people collect them, but I'm not into the fear mongering thing where like everything's an entity, this, that, and the other. Guess what? We all pick up things, and when you stop being afraid of them, they have no power over you. And the purpose here is to raise your frequency to a point to where they cannot connect to you. I try not to focus on the it's there, it can affect you. Yeah, it can, but the idea is just raise. As we raise our frequency, it stops happening, and that's how we get through it, right? It's nothing to be afraid of. It's actually a part of the process. When you first start awakening, people get attacked by entities because guess what? You're like a light bulb in the dark room, and the moths start gathering because they're like, oh, look at light, like it's a food source, right? And so it always happens. Everyone has like this spiritual when they first awaken, they have like their first healing crisis where it's like, oh, stuff's happening or this, that, and the other, and it is because these things they're recognizing you as something of power because you're waking up, right? And then eventually we run so much frequency through our energy body that we become the bug zapper and the moths can't connect, right? So
Yes.
that's what that is. So the core pillars of energetic hygiene. The first one is to clear, release what isn't yours, right? So we're constantly clearing, releasing energies that aren't ours, protecting, shielding yourself, shielding and sealing your energy field. There are techniques for this. So we're going to be doing it today. At the end, we're going to be doing an activation of showing you how to release these cords, how to identify them, how to release them, and then how to. I'm going to be teaching you a technique. If you have already subscribed to my newsletter and you're getting my emails, then the thing that I gave you in exchange for becoming on my newsletter is a technique called the Maharic Shield. It's a meditative exercise that when you do it daily, it builds this. It connects you to the earth. It runs 12th dimensional frequency through you, which what it does is your DNA always starts mutating when you're around different frequencies, etc. Your DNA wants to distort and mutate, right? But running frequency through them is what brings them back in the divine blueprint. The Maharic shield is constantly bringing you back into your divine blueprint, and it creates a shield. So anytime you're going to be around, I do it before I go to cemeteries. I do it before anytime I'm weird around weird energy. You're just going out in public. Sometimes you have to go to a social event where people are at a bar, etc. Whatever. I always shield myself before I go because it doesn't allow these things to connect to you the same way. I also clear myself after, but these practices of daily doing this energetic maintenance really changes things. I notice sometimes too, I'm like, oh, like if I don't do it, I start feeling off. I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on? Or I feel like I'm being attacked. And then I realize like, I'm not being attacked. I just forgot to do it's like, I got dirty and fell down and I think I'm being attacked. Really, it's just like, if you maintain yourself, your energy is great and you don't have to worry about it. Right. And so this is of core foundational thing. And so daily energetic hygiene practices. I'm going to be showing you an advanced technique of how we like remove a bunch of things, but these practices are good daily. Smudging with sage, Palo Santo, or resins. Smudging your body and your home. Going in a clockwise direction, having a door window open, allowing the smoke with intention. There are invocations to clear the energy of the space of yourself. I'm going to be sharing an invocation here that you can use daily that will clear your energy outside of the technique. I'm going to give you an invocation because it's a quick thing that sets the stage and the intention. Then the exercise actually goes in and does like the heavy work, right? So smudging, salt baths with clearing intention. So Epsom salt baths are one of the most magnificent things that you can do. Anytime that you're going through healing or purging or high emotionally intense things or different frequencies are coming in, there's transitions, salt baths. You pick up energy on your cells. The salt bath literally sucks that energy out of you and it goes down the drain and you feel amazing. I go in the salt bath and I read invocations. I set my intention. I'll even put like lavender oil in the Epsom salt or like some sort of eucalyptus, something that's soothing, relaxing, and it really does wonders. I suggest salt baths like one a week if you can. If you got a bathtub, you can get the Epsom salt at any CVS, Walgreens, whatever. Though that is a key crucial tool. Auric field sweeping. This is where we use hands, feathers, tuning forks. Sometimes they use like a knife to cut the energy away from you with a bell. There's different things that you can do to remove energy from your auric field. I'm gonna grab something real quick to show. This is a thing that I use when I'm smudging. I use a chime, right? So little chime bell. So the chime, if you've ever seen the movie Spider-Man, it's a newer Spider-Man movie with the symbiote with Venom, right? And
Yeah.
he gets the symbiote on him, and when he's up in the bell tower and the bell rings, it freaks out and
Mm.
it has to get off of him. So
Mm.
the symbiote, guess what? All entities, whether you want to call it, I call them astral parasites because it's less triggering than like demon or this, that, and the other, fallen angelics, whatever you want to call them. But they are just different beings, whether they're reptilian, Anunnaki, whatever. They are a interdimensional being that's non-physical, right? Non-human, non-physical. Some of them have physical, but they're non-physical, and they attach to us. They latch on like the symbiote. And then there is a parasitic relationship that it is feeding off of you. And so when you're clearing your energy, a good technique is to use the chime, where you ring the chime, you do an invocation, use a knife to cut all around yourself, right? And then the invocation will remove the energies. I have those to share with us. The invocation that I'm going to share, you can say the invocation, ring the bell, and it will take care of it. But the chime is very powerful because the sound, the high frequency sound that it emits, they cannot stay by. And this is why there's this whole theory of where'd all the bell towers go, how they started taking all the bells down from all the cathedrals and all this different stuff. They used to have bells that would ring, right? They don't ring bells anymore, and it's because of the darkness, right? Because we found out what that's for, and the darkness doesn't want us ringing bells. They want to be able to connect to you, right? So cord cutting, visualization, and revocation, we're going to be doing that today. I'm going to show you how. So I know it says cord cutting, but I'm going to show you a better way. When we say cord cutting, right? A lot of people have seen like Archangel Michael asking to cut the cords, this, that, and the other. These are very common practices, but you cannot actually cut a cord. right? So we are quantumly entangled to everything. Everything is connected. You cannot cut a cord. Like if you cut a cord, it reattaches. What you're cutting is the emotional charge. The cord connects you to a person and then it builds up a charge. We're gonna go through this later, but the charge of the emotion, that is what is affecting you. It creates a drain or a hook or some sort of stagnancy or decay in your energetic field. And when we're cutting, we're removing that. But I'm going to show you a different technique where we burn it away and we transmute it, right? Because the emotions are there. And instead of cutting them, we're going to transmute them into a higher octave, right? Because you can take something negative and turn it into a positive. And so we don't want to cut things away. It's like, oh, my family, my sister, these people, we don't want to like, oh, gotta get away, cut. Like you're not cutting and like removing them, but you can shift those emotions, those frequencies, and those relationships into a higher octave, a higher timeline. And so we're going to be using energetic techniques for that today. And we're going to be using the violet flame with the assistance of Ascended Master Saint Germain, and the Arcturians are going to be assisting us today. And then the other thing on here is the Maharic Shield technique. You guys have received it. If you don't have it, I can send it to you, but you should have it if you received it in my email newsletter. I always
I
start with
have
that.
it.
Okay.
Mhm.
If you don't have
Got
it,
it.
Pascalina, I will send it to you.
I think I have it too.
Okay, yes. If you went on my website and you click that thing that gets you into my email list, it should have sent you like a free gift, and that's what it was is that technique. That one, if I were you, I would do every day. That is such a powerful technique to clear your field. The next thing we're going to talk about is our energy bank audit. So every day when you wake up, you can think of your energy body or your emotional energy as a bank account. Like you always say, like you can't fill a cup that's empty, right? Well, if you're every day, like when you go to work, you spend 25 points here, in your relationships, you spend another 25 points. If you're doing some extracurricular, you only have so much emotional energy to do anything, right? Whether it's to be creative or to work or whatever, you only have so much energy. And so auditing that bank account and realizing where that energy is going and the unhealthy places that aren't serving us or aren't giving a return. When we're talking about a bank, right? When you invest money and you put it into stocks or bonds or cryptocurrency or something, you're hoping that it grows and you have a return on your investment. So the energy that you put into things should be like seeds that you're planting that grow. They shouldn't be taken from you to where your account is drained, right? It's not like a child that's just leeching off of you constantly. We want to make sure our relationships aren't like that, right? Or we should start closing our circles or not giving as much attention or energy. Like I said, there's certain people that only call you to cry or complain about their lives, but if you called them, they wouldn't be there for that because they need you for that, right? And so that's how we can identify those hooks and drains. That if you go through everyone in your life, and we're going to do this on a small scale, then you're going to take this technique and you're going to do it through everything in your life and see to identify where the biggest hooks and drains are, right? Where's my energy going? What am I unconsciously plugged into? Who or what am I still carrying? What outdated roles am I playing? A lot of times we sustain trauma and like we're victimized or something, and then we identify with that victim trauma, or like we identify as that thing, and sometimes we put ourselves back into the same trauma loops because they're comfortable. Every time a thing happens, like oh, this happens, so then I self-hate because this makes me feel this, and that energy gets me out of this, but I go into a different spiral, and there's all these different things. It's like, why am I doing this? Where did this come from? Why is this sucking my energy? Every time you do a thing, if you feel drained, there's something going on there, right? Sometimes it's you, and other times it's another person, right? And learning what's yours and what's not yours, and taking back what's yours and giving back what's not yours, is really important. Awareness is the first step to sovereignty. So creating sacred space. We're gonna do this. We do every time we do any activations together. We create that sacred space. But this is the bubble with the pillar, and then there are invocations to create more of a sacred space. Your Merkaba, or the Maharic Shield, those are considered sacred spaces. But your home can be a sacred space. Wherever you're doing energy work, you're creating a container. Right now, when we activate, this is a sacred space because I'm making it one. Right? Things are only sacred that you make them. So anywhere that you're doing energy work or doing any type of meditative stuff, you should be clearing the energy, because when you're opening up portals, believe it or not, we are a portal. So when you're meditating, whatever you're doing, you're opening up a gateway. Those gateways sometimes come with residue, and they build up in the house and they stagnate, and then they can cause issues. So cleansing your home and objects regularly with the sage, with the bells, things like that. If you've got crystals, make sure that your crystals are being charged and cleaned. Crystals pick up things. Believe it or not, there are witches that go into crystal shops and they literally just cast magic into crystals. Because guess what? Then 1,000 different people are bringing that crystal home, and now they've got a hook or drain plugged into people where they're feeding off of people like a parasite. So when you get your crystals, you need to make sure that you clear them and that you program them for your success. Otherwise, people are like, oh, I got this crystal because it's for this. Really, you're holding a rock with someone else's computer program that isn't serving you. You're holding a rock that's really like a siphon, or it's like a malware or like a Trojan horse. Like now you got it at home, and now it's sucking your personal energy because you think it's a shiny rock, but it is. But crystals are like quantum computers, and understanding that there are corrupted programs and we need to clear those. The same with our space is really important to understand. Okay. So, and the easiest way to do this, intentions are everything. So when you're doing, I use a lot of affirmation programming. I use prayer treatment with invocations. Your words are powerful. If you've ever experienced my light language, frequency and sound does a thing. It changes reality. If you've ever seen those where they do the cymatics with the sand on the plate, they play a frequency and it rearranges matter. Your sound rearranges and affects matter. So you can say clearly out loud, only source aligned energies are welcome in this space. That's a basic one. You could say that with ringing the bell, only source aligned energies are welcome in this space. Boom. And always have the windows open or a place for it to go. Otherwise, you're just chasing things around your house. If you're saging or you're doing this stuff and you don't have a window or a door open, you're chasing energy around in a circle and wondering why it's not clearing. And so that's really, really important. Okay. Okay, so this next one is an invocation. I'm going to read it out loud. So if you want to just, close your eyes and just take some deep breaths, center yourself in your body. I'm going to read this out loud. It'll be available. This is a good invocation to use daily. This invocation is for energetic hygiene and restoring your energy bank. Okay. I now call myself fully into the present moment, anchored in my body, my breath, and my soul. I open a sacred field of light around me, held in the frequency of divine neutrality and protection. From this sovereign space, I call upon the violet flame of transmutation, the presence of my I am Christ itself, and the support of all benevolent guides, guardians, and healers who serve the highest truth and eternal light. I now call back all of my energy from all people, places, objects, relationships, timelines, and dimensions where my light has been entangled, drained, scattered, or forgotten. I release all unconscious agreements and outdated soul contracts that no longer serve my evolution or the evolution of others. I retrieve my essence from the past. I call back my energy from the future. I reclaim my light from every interaction, known or unknown, seen or unseen, across all incarnations and layers of my being. As I call this energy back into my field, I command it to be cleansed, purified, and transmuted through the violet flame. Return to me in its highest frequency, fully restored, fully mine, fully sovereign. I now dissolve and transmute all cords, hooks, attachments, and energetic imprints tied to these people, places, and timelines. I release them with love, and I call every relationship and connection into alignment with the highest timeline for the good of all. I now restore my energetic bank account. I anchor my light body in wholeness, clarity, and strength. I reseal my field with divine intelligence and crystalline order. From this space of renewal, I choose to move forward cleansed, empowered, and sovereign. My field is clear. My energy is mine. My soul is free. And so it is. And so I am. So a powerful thing when you're doing invocations or prayer work, your breath powers your Merkaba. So your Merkaba is an energy field that launches everything is Merkaba. Whether you're reading the Akashic records, you're channeling, you're healing, everything that you're doing is your Merkaba. Your Merkaba is your like what can you not do without your physical body? You eat, you read, everything uses your body, right? Every psychic interaction you use, your Merkaba, your light body is in charge of that. So understanding that all this psychic development of this multidimensionality is literally just activating and developing your Merkaba, then activating the clairsenses. The Merkaba is like the body or the vehicle, the car, and then the clairsenses are your sight, sound, hearing, a way to interpret information. And then so those two are the most important things. And then those with those two, it allows you to engage with higher dimensional beings, angels, ascended masters, ETs of the light, these different elementals where we can engage. We can use the body to move, shift into other places where we can engage to develop, learn, heal, and grow. And so that's what we're doing with all of this. And that invocation, you could read it daily or anytime that you're doing cleansing, clearing, you feel like you want to clear yourself at the end of the day. That's a good invocation to do in the morning or before bed or whenever you feel like you need it, right? Some days we don't have time every day, but it's a powerful tool to use. I like to use it while smudging or using the bell. That's a way that I use it. So then I'm just going to go through some advanced tools for deeper clearing. Not all of this we're going to be able to touch on. I'm just going to give you some examples because these are things that you can do if you feel like that even after the tools that we received today, if you're still struggling, there are more advanced things that can be done. Entity and implant removal, that's where we would have a session where if you can't get it out yourself, I will force a thing out and show you how this works. And we do it together to where, like, I assist, but I show you how to take sovereignty. So, if that ever happens, there is a ceremony for that. A light language or DNA code toning, that happens. You'll experience that. I use light language to bring in codes and frequencies to encode your Merkaba or to clear certain energies. I'll be doing a little bit of that later. Ancestral trauma clearing rituals. I do, past life soul retrieval stuff to clear up karma and trauma. That's a whole other thing. Inner child and soul fragment integration. That's the shadow work I was telling you about, the Peter Pan thing. We're going to be doing that in an upcoming class. So that'll be coming soon. Star family lineage clearing, that is much more advanced. It's when you connect with your ET guides and you have positive ones and negative ones, right? And so learning how to clear what's not beneficial and how to activate what is, that's where that comes from. And then prayer and invocation to your Christed guides. We'll be working on that in the future as well. I'll be giving out that invocation in upcoming classes. um, there's no point in connecting with any of these stuff until we are able to clear our field. We don't want to bring anything in until we clean house first. Your clean field is your superpower. When your energy is clear, you embody your soul frequency, you access divine guidance with ease, you attract aligned relationships and opportunities, you activate your dormant abilities, and you reclaim your full power as a multi-dimensional being. Energetic hygiene is sacred self-devotion, right? Some people go to church on Sundays and they want to, they have certain rituals that they do to devote themselves. Well, clearing is devotion to yourself. This is self-love, right? This embodying self-love is taking care of yourself. You get up and you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you wash your hair, you do all the different things that you do. This is one of those things that we shouldn't skip. It's not just about protection, it's about embodiment, right? Cleansing your field is how you honor your divine light, step into your mission, and live as your higher self. Sometimes our higher self won't even come into the body because there's so much clutter and junk in there, there's no room for it, right? So this is why we need to clear that out. Jesus says in the Bible, cleanse your temple and you shall see. He's not talking about the dirty windows in your house, right? He's talking about the toxins in the body, the energetic clutter, all of this karma trauma. Once you cleanse it all out, the temple becomes very clear, and your abilities and your ability to sense, see, know, and experience God turn on to the fullest capacity. So next, we're going to start doing the actual practice. I put this picture up because this picture represents what is happening here, right? So those black cords connecting are our connections to people, right? We have connections to people in our lives, present and past, and sometimes future. And also, we are connected to certain locations from our past that are important to us through memories, through emotions, things that happen, sometimes positively charged, sometimes negatively charged. Have you ever been to a place where it's like, oh, I go past a place and like you remember someone died or something happened, and like all this energy comes in? It's because you're connected to that place, right? There's a charge there. There's an emotional charge in that cord. And so these cords connect to different places. And so this is just a vague representation of this, but I'm going to show you how we identify the cords first, and then how we transmute them. And we're going to be calling in assistance from Ascended Master Saint Germain, and the Arcturian clearing team will be joining us a little bit later once we begin. In this next phase, I'm going to bring you guys into an altered state of consciousness, which is like a dream state while you're awake. This is where I'm about shifting the brainwave state. So I'm going to guide you into that. So I'm going to bring you into the altered state. We're going to set up our sacred space. We're going to then I'm going to show you how we access. Once again, I said biological supercomputer, right? So everything, your eyes are biological cameras, and your DNA is the film. Every time that your heart beats, whatever you're looking at is being time stamped. Boom, boom, boom. Every image you've ever seen is saved on your cells, right? Like pictures on your computer, and those image files, right? So the word photo, the root word is photon, they're light images. Your eyes capture light images. And this is why scrolling on phones and watching movies is terrible for you, because your cells and don't know the difference between images you see with your eyes or images you see on a screen, because you're still looking at images. And guess what? There's emotion, and those images are false light images. And so your cells don't care. They collect them either way. You're taking on karma and trauma of things that aren't yours by watching these horror movies and these different things that are happening, because it has nothing to do with your life. And you're literally just like cluttering your space with other people's stuff, right? But so because of that, those image files is where the connection to the people are, right? There, every photo on your computer, there's metadata. When you save a file, it says where it was taken, what was XYZ. The metadata on your photo, on the images, are the emotions, right? The emotion is attached to it, how you felt. Every time you experience something, how you feel is there as well. So it's captured with the emotion. That's how it's stored. And this is how it starts becoming dense and turning into disease. Dis-ease manifests into disease in the body through these karmic and energetic imprints. Your organs actually hold in each, you have 12 major organ systems, and each one is responsible for processing an emotion, right? And so people that they are angry, so they start drinking, guess what? They corrode their liver because you're escaping emotion that your liver is supposed to be processing. You're drinking alcohol, you're assigning those toxins to your liver, and guess what? You're corroding or causing cancer in your body because instead of processing, you're literally doing the opposite because you're unconsciously assigning those toxins to an organ system when you're trying to cope. That's a whole other story. But this is how these things can build up and affect us, right? So if you guys are ready, I know I just said a lot of things, but I like to say a lot of things because it matters. Like the backstory is important of why we're doing this stuff, why these things happen, how they happen. The story is important with the actual physics. So without further ado, if you are ready, we will begin. So find yourself in a comfortable position, either sitting up or laying down. Once we begin, it doesn't matter if you see the screen or not. As long as you can hear my voice, that's all that matters. If you have headphones on or whatever, however you're going to do it. And then, if you can, place your feet flat on the floor without crossing your arms or legs, leaving the energy channels open when we first begin. And then we are going to begin by taking deep rhythmic breaths, with each breath falling deeper and deeper inside of yourself. Breathe into your heart and open your heart as wide as you can from the front and the back as I connect to the back of your heart chakra in 3, 2, 1. Very good. Breathe into your heart again. And as you exhale, expand your heart energy into a sphere or a bubble 6 feet in all directions around yourself. It's a little protection bubble. This is your energetic sphere. You're going to breathe into your heart again. As you breathe in, breathe up through your higher chakras, opening the top of the sphere into a column of pale silver light extending from the top of the sphere up to source, where we anchor and activate a temple of divine union. Very good. Breathe into your heart again. As you breathe in, breathe down through your lower chakras, opening the bottom of the sphere into a column of pale silver light, extending down into the earth, through the bedrock, down to the core of Mother Gaia, where we anchor and activate a temple of Mother Gaia grounding. Nu sharaya sakarya satei usoru ruara kinini satarya satai shakarya sa yatra. Very good. We're going to breathe into our heart again as we anchor and activate a temple of higher self communion. This is the place in your heart space where your higher self is stationed and where it anchors in. Very good. Now we're going to breathe into our heart and we're going to see or visualize golden light spiraling down from above into the column, into your crown, into the heart, where we welcome the higher self into your heart space. Take a moment now and see or feel that golden being walking towards you. As they get close, connecting heart to heart, embracing them, allowing them to walk and merge into your physical body here and now. And if we're not as visual, just the feeling, the sense, the knowing, the intention is fine. And then once they walk inside, we're going to continue to breathe into the heart. And with each additional breath, more of that liquid golden light pouring down from above begins to fill the heart space. And think of your heart space like a glass of water, right? We're going to start filling up the heart from the bottom to the top, like a liquid glass of golden light. And as the heart begins to overflow, the heart begins to resemble a seed that begins to germinate. where golden root-like filaments begin to grow from the bottom of the heart, spiraling down around the spinal column, down through the middle back, down through the lower back, down to the tip of the tailbone. Breathe into the tailbone as it glows white hot and it opens, extending your etheric neural network down into the earth below, where we feel the cool earth on the white hot roots as it spirals down. This is the internet, down the World Wide Web, down the mycelium of the mushroom that connects all things together. Continue to breathe with each breath as the roots spiral down. And at a certain point, you'll feel a click, a pop, a sense of knowing. You might just feel the roots stop growing when they reach the Earth's core. You might see them wrap tightly around the core of the Earth. As they're wrapping, we want to make sure they're wrapping counterclockwise. Counterclockwise 3 times, and then you can pull and secure with love. If you're having a hard time growing them down, I'm going to grab your tail and pull it down and anchor it to the core of Mother Gaia. Surra karanaya shataraya saya ika nananaya atara yukuru sutru shiara yakara yasanana itreya yakinani itreya sutru atara yashatraya yakia yukurnu nutra yara satri. Very good. And then I want you to breathe into your heart and then exhale, sending the little heart energy. As you breathe in, you can just see like a little sphere form, and then exhale, sending it down through the tail to the core of Mother Gaia. As you exhale, it'll reach the core of the earth and breathe into the heart again. Exhale, sending it down to Mother Gaia. We just want to sort of charge and purge that network, that grounding network. This pillar of light is our grid point. We are plugging into the earth's collective consciousness grid, right? We are all part of that grid. We are like cells of, like, just like how we have cells of the body, we as humans are cells of the planet, right? So we make up the collective. And as we plug in, we get access to this. So plugging into the grids and growing the tail down, this is like in the movie Avatar when they connect the braids and now they can neural link, right? So good. So just send it down. We're sending love from the heart down to Mother Gaia. Next, what's going to happen is we are going to bring our attention into our mind's eye, in the mind's eye. And as you breathe, I want you to bring your attention to the mind's eye, and I want you to see or visualize in the mind's eye a point of white light, like a star out in the middle of the sky. And I want you to breathe into the white light. As you inhale, the white light will expand from a point into a holographic screen. You can think of a computer monitor or a movie theater screen. And it might be very faint. You might see it clearly. You might just have an intention. Some people aren't very visual, but just the knowing that it opens. This is how we access the hard drive of the computer. So you're going to see the screen out before you. And then what's going to happen is you're going to see or visualize a green beam from your heart chakra, from the front of your heart chakra, beam out and connect to that screen in front of you. And when it connects, when the green beam connects, you'll notice the screen like lights up or turns on, similarly to how your computer monitor lights up when you give it power, right? We're connecting our heart to the third eye, right? This is creating heart, third eye coherence. Very good. Next, what we're going to do is, so this screen, this is our viewing screen, and we're connecting from our heart telepathically. This is what gives us access from our cells. Now, what's going to happen is we are going to call in the assistance of Ascended Master Saint Germain. So however you're experiencing it, just breathe into your heart. He's going to descend in from above as a little faint spark or sphere of violet light descending down. As he comes in, he'll either come over your left or right shoulder. It might be in the front, but he's going to come down in 3, 2, 1. And notice that as he comes in, that the energy will shift. You'll feel his high oscillating presence. And he'll either walk out from behind you, out before you, so you'll be able to see him. If you don't see him, I want you to just, with your attention, rotate and face him momentarily, just so you can, witness him, whether you can see him, feel him, however, just connect with him. And I want you to see the green beam from your heart beam out and connect to his heart. You'll either see it from the front of your heart to his. He might step behind you and connect the green beam from his heart to the back of your heart. And when we connect to the back of someone's heart, we're extending our power through them. We're supporting or holding space. So he might connect to the back. He might also connect to the front, and just observe where he connects and where he plugs into you. And notice when he connects and he starts to harmonize with your field, what that feels like. Ascended Master Saint Germain he does a lot of different things, but one of his focuses is he holds the violet flame. This is the 7D frequency flame that is also associated with the Arcturians. That's why the Arcturians are going to be joining us here in a moment. But Saint Germain is on Earth, the holder of the violet flame. This violet flame technology is a part of us that we can wield as well. As he harmonizes, he is going to start extending or putting the coding into your auric field for the programs of the violet flame. He's going to start that in 3, 2, 1. Krana shataraya kiye sakuru utarana ya kara sataraya shatrini kiye sakuru watarana ya kara ya shatana ya itre shakara ya sakara. Notice when they come in how they expand out into your sphere. Ru karana ya kara ya shata yara ya kana yukuru tru ruwa shakara ya sakara. Notice in your body anything that happens, if any emotions come up or sensations as it's happening. He's still installing. Kru akarana ya shatriya ya kiye satru nunu akara ya itra sara shakara ya satara ya kiye sakuru tatrana ya kara ya shakara ya satara. Just take a few breaths as he continues to harmonize. He's just removing any stagnant energy and transmuting it in your body. The violet flame transmutes energy into a higher octave. So if it's emotional energy, it'll transmute into something like bliss or joy or love. And as it transmutes, any residue will go down through your central vertical column. So as this is happening this whole time, I want you to just be breathing into your heart and exhaling down into the core of the earth through that neural net, that tail. You can think of it like a drain or pipes that go down. So any stagnant energy or anything that comes off of you as you breathe, it's allowed to go down that drain. Okay, so now the grid is set up. The violet flame is in your auric field. He's there supporting. And so now we're going to move on to the next part. We're going to bring our attention back to that screen in the mind's eye. When I say the mind's eye, it might be if you can see yourself with your eyes closed, where you feel this being next to you and what's going on. You might also see the screen in front of you, or it might be like in the back of your skull and your eyelids. Either is fine. But if you can view it out before you as though it's like a movie theater, is the easiest with the green beam connected. Once again, if we're not visual, the intention, the feeling, the sensation, the knowing all works the same. Okay. Next, what's going to happen is on this screen, what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple holograms. If you don't know what a hologram is, think of a mannequin at the department store, just a blank person with no features. This is a placeholder for energy. Okay, these are able to hold these memories that the eyes save. And so this is how we can access this cellular memory, aka the Akashic records. So on the screen, we're going to create a lineup of 3 holograms, 3 side-by-side holograms, just blank people with no features. I want you to number them on their chest, 1, 2, and 3. Take as much time as you need. You might need to draw them, or you can just intend them and they'll show up. But 3 holograms, just blank little cutouts with numbers on their chest. You can just give me a thumbs up when you've got them in front of you so I know when to move on. Very good. Very good. So next, so these holograms are placeholders. So next, what's going to happen is we're going to start with this clearing ceremony. We're going to clear the 3 chords that are affecting you the most to people in your lives. These might be friends, relatives, loved ones. They might be past partners, but these 3 people are affecting you the most at this moment in time negatively. So I'm going to download the light codes and the memory files into these holograms so they populate so you can recognize who these people are. We can like literally like Google search and pull from the imprints who they are. And so I'm going to download those light codes so they populate on the screen for you in 3, 2, 1. Kru karana shatraya sataraya yakia sununo usharaya sataraya kia sakrunu truari traya shakarana yakia satru. As it's happening, you just sort of scan and just recognize who they are. I'm gonna keep going. Kru ana yakara yashatraya satara yarana yakara yashakara sukrunu tru ruaya shakara yasatara naya itaraya yakia sukru uana yashatraya yakia. Just observe who shows up. Is this, a family member, a loved one, a coworker, a relative? Is this, an enemy? Is this a child? Is this somebody that's passed? Sometimes it's people that are no longer in our lives. But I want you to observe. If it was one-on-one, we'd talk through it. But I want you to just observe who they are and just make a mental note of the 3 people and who they are. You can give me a thumbs up when you've got them in there. Good. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to ask our higher self. Your higher self will interface, and your higher self has all the information from God, and it's like your psychic imprint vision. So we're going to ask our higher self to show us the cord connecting us to each of these people. They're going to reveal the cord to you in 3, 2, 1. you'll notice where the cord connects from your body to theirs. Is it connecting from the heart to the heart, from the head to the reproductive organs? Is it connecting from the back? Just notice where the cord is attached to you and where the cord is attached to the person, and make a mental note, because later you can search on the internet or the metaphysical library. ChatGPT will tell you, but where it's connected says about the emotion, because where it's connected, that's the emotion that's being used to connect to you, or how they're either infiltrating your field or that this negative connection is being harnessed. So first thing I want you to do is notice where it's connected, and we can do this one at a time. So if you see all three, great, or we can do one at a time where just notice the first one. Okay. If you can do all three, great. But if you can't, one at a time is fine. Notice where it's at. Next, what we're going to do is you're going to bring your attention to that cord, and I want you to notice the quality of the cord. The cord coming from you to them. Is it a bright, vibrant silver or golden cord, or is it more like a chain or a rope or something dark? Or does it look like flesh that's rotting, where it's got holes in it, where it's like, it's unhealthy or made of something that isn't what we would consider divine? I want you to notice what those cords are made out of, because those cords will tell you about the relationship. And when I say the relationship, I don't mean like how you feel about the person. It's like the underlying currents of the energetics that are happening between you and these people. And what's awesome about this is we don't necessarily have to focus on the story. The story is there. The story is the ego. It's in the images. We know what has happened. But what we're going to focus on is the energetic charge that is built up in that cord. Okay. So I want you to just once again notice it. I know you've already noticed it, but bring your attention to it and feel what that cord feels like. When you feel it, if it's not good, it might feel yucky, but you'll know in your body will let you know what that feels like. So we just want to bring attention to it so we know we're identifying it, right? Confronting and identifying it. Next, we're going to call in the Arcturian clearing team. This will be three tall blue light being ETs. They might be 7 to 9 feet tall. They likely don't have features. They might just be blue silhouettes of light. They're going to join us now in 3, 2, 1. And one should be standing by you where the cord is attached. One should be standing by them where the cord is attached. And then one will be like in the middle, like managing the cord itself. And so what they're going to do is they're going to, through this power of the violet flame that's in your auric field now, right? Saint Germain install this into your field. They're going to hold space for it to happen, right? The three beings, one is at your access point, one is the cord itself, and one is their access point. One of them manages their energy body, one manages your energy body, and the other is the cord itself. And so now we're going to ask Ascended Master Saint Germain to intensify the violet flame. And this violet flame, it's like a fire, right? It's like a fire, or it might flicker, or it might feel like, like what fire would be like. But we're going to intensify it from fire into a higher octave. So it's almost like a laser, like light, or like a liquid plasma. And so as we intensify it, you'll feel it shift in your field, in your bubble, and you'll feel it like turn almost like a liquid, or it'll feel like I don't want to say more dense, but like there's more body to it, or it might be cool or a different temperature. Once you bring your attention to that, I want you to breathe into your heart to collect that violet flame from your field into the heart. And then exhale and send it from the heart. Even if you're not connecting the cord from your heart to theirs, if it's from the back to there, wherever, you breathe into the heart and then exhale from the heart through that cord. So you collect it in the heart through with love, and then exhale the energy through that cord from you to that person. And as it goes through, notice what that liquid plasma light does to the cord. As you breathe it in, it's like a wave. You breathe in, collecting it, exhale, send it through that cord, and notice what the cord does, what emotions you feel. And then as it goes through, you'll notice that after 1, 2, 3 breaths, it'll go through you. It'll start going through the cord, almost like it's filling like water or rushing through. And then it'll start filling up in the other person. The violet flame cannot hurt anybody, by the way. It's 7th-dimensional energy of pure light and love. So when we are using this on the other person, all it can do is transmute things without breaking their free will, and bringing things into a higher octave. So it can transmute energies and emotions into a higher octave that can affect you. And if they don't want it, if their higher self does not want it, it will not affect them. But we are giving them the opportunity to heal as well with this. So take some more breaths and push that liquid purple light through that cord into them. And you're going to, just like how we filled ourselves up, right? Like it's like the heart overflowed. You're going to keep breathing that purple light from your body through your heart, exhaling it through that cord into them. And you're going to fill them fully. And you're going to fill them fully until that cord changes from whatever it looked like, a rope, a chain, some sort of thing into something more vibrant. It might be a green beam, it might be a silver beam, it might be gold. It'll be something that looks divine. It'll look like the green chakra or some sort of divine connection once it is restored. And so I want you to breathe through it until it shifts. And as it shifts, once again, it's transmuting this emotional energy in the charge instead of just cutting it and hoping it'll go away. And it won't. That's like you cut your finger and instead you put a band-aid on instead of using a different knife or something. It's like we're not addressing the problem, right? And so we want to transmute the energies into the higher octave. And notice as you're transmuting, as you're breathing, how that cord connected to you not only looks, but how it's starting to feel. Notice the difference in the contrast of how it felt when we started to how it feels now. And I want you to repeat this process now. If you were able to do them all at the same time with all three people, great. You're pushing it out. Some people can do more at once. If you haven't, if you were focusing on one, once that person's hologram fills up purple, they'll like light up and you see the cord looks different, right? We would take a mental note of how it felt and the person, because we always want to identify, because this is how we create stronger boundaries afterwards. Then let's move on to the next two. We're going to take 5 minutes to go through. If you need more time, we can always take more, and you can always, if for some reason they don't fill up all the way, or if there's some sort of like blowback, or we don't have enough time, you can always go back and do them on your own. This is why there's a recording and why there's a replay. But so we're going to take 5 minutes now to be able to transmute those chords, noticing where the cord is connected, what it looked like, the emotion that is felt, and then breathe into it, into your heart, and send that liquid purple violet plasma light through the cord into the other person until they fill up. Sometimes it's like the cord it's like it fills up halfway because then it's going through, and it's like I always see things like liquid where it's like pouring across, it fills them up in their feet, and then eventually when they fill up all the way, the cord will transmute last sometimes for me. However it happens, just notice that the emotion you felt from the cord, where it's attached, what it looked like, and then after you fill them up, notice how it feels now, what the emotion is. Because the emotion you feel afterwards, sometimes it's relief, or sometimes it's a transmuted emotion where it was that lower emotion, but something higher. I'm going to give you 4 more minutes before I move on to the next. If you finish before the time, you can always give me a thumbs up too, so I know if you're in the queue waiting that I'm not giving more time than is needed. Once again, at the 5 minute mark, if we're not finished, we can always, any of those that we transmute, you can always on your own pull the screen back up, plug back in, and go through this same process to transmute. If it does take longer, that's totally okay. Being present with it and going through the process the exact way and being visceral and sensory with it and giving it every little bit that it needs is how it's done. Rushing it does not help us succeed. When we rush it, it's like we didn't give it the proper energy. So it's totally okay. Everyone moves at their own pace. All right, 1 more minute. And if you are finishing the queue, what I want you to do is if they're already full completely and the cord is full completely, I want you to just fill the whole screen up with the violet fire, or how it's liquid purple coming across from you to them. I want you to just that whole screen that they're on, just burst the whole screen into violet fire. So it's like all you see is violet fire on the screen because it will clear and transmute those holograms. It'll burn the holograms away. Every time we create a hologram and we use it, we want to destroy it or collapse it, and burning it away collapses it. We never want to open holograms and then leave them because they're quantumly entangled to a person and to yourself, and those leaves portals open that other things can access. And so we want to make sure we close doors and we always burn or collapse, shrink them down into nothing, the holograms. So if you're finished, let's collapse the 3 holograms on the screen. And then we're going to move forward. So bring your attention back to the screen. We still have our heart connection to the screen. We still have Saint Germain plugged in behind us. We still have the Arcturians. Each of you have 3 that are there with you. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to create on the screen another 3 holograms. This time, the holograms are going to be a cube. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So it's just going to be a blank cube. You can do a white cube or just like a clear cube. A cube, the platonic solid, is for like the physical reality. And these 3 cubes are going to unfold into a location or a place. These are placeholders for the memory files of a location. So we're going to create 3 cubes, and then I'm going to download the light code memory files from your cell memory into these 3 cubes. So they populate as the 3 locations that are affecting you, that you're connected to, that are affecting you in a disharmonic way. I'm going to download those in 3, 2, 1. Krana Kshatriya Satraya Yukuruara Ishadana Yaki Sukarana Nitra Yara Yashakara Yasaki Yurunuta Yara Ishari Sorutu Akarana Ya Itre Yashakari Sakara Neya Yaki Sotru. You'll notice that the cube, even though it's a cube, it might have like all 4 sides of it, or all the sides of the cube might have different images, or the cube might open where it like opens up into like its own individual landscape, or it might be like the screen fractals into like 3 windows where you can see these different places. It might happen different ways, so just observe. You might just know the places. Some people that are less visual they just know what it is, where they don't see it. It's interesting how the clairsenses work. Everyone's are different. You can give me a thumbs up when you've got your 3 locations, when they've populated fully. These locations might be common, and they might also be very uncommon. For me, there was like a location in my life that like I only went to one time, and there was something that I didn't even realize that happened, but that's like a key thing in my life. And so it's okay if we don't recognize them. When they show up, however they show up, we let them show up without judgment. Where if it's like, oh, I think it's this, and you try to make it into something, just let it be whatever it is. And sometimes the screen or the image of the location might not make sense. It might look like something as a representation, but different, where it's like it looks similar, but the house is different or something, but you'll know where it is. So just allow it to happen how it does. Sometimes the memory files are corrupted through trauma, which is totally okay. Very good. So now what we're going to do is these 3 locations or these holograms connecting with the cell memories, trauma, karma from things that happen in this location. You're going to see the green beam from your, well, once again, before we send out a green beam, we're going to bring up the cord, the connection from yourself to this place. We're going to bring it up in 3, 2, 1. And notice on your body where the cord for each of these places is connecting. Is it on the chakras? Is it on a part of the body? Is it somewhere that you would think it was, or not, right? And sometimes it's, if it's the heart, it's because there could be things of love there, or it can be something else, right? So just sort of observe where the connection is first. Then we're going to observe the quality, where it's connected on your body. What does it look like? The cord, once again, is it like a rope? Is it a chain? Is it, some sort of necrotic flesh looking tissue? Is it something else? I've had one where I had one that was like a Twizzler. It's like a piece of candy rope. And I was like, that's interesting. But however it shows up, just notice what it looks like, the color. And then we're going to notice how it feels, where it's connected. How does it feel, that connection between you and that hologram? Is it pleasant? or is it unpleasant? By confronting the place, the connection, and the emotion, it's how we're able to transmute and release. Once we have felt that and we've made a mental note in our mind's eye, which is all being saved in your cell memory, we're then going to bring attention to Saint Germain behind us and his connection to your heart. And I want you to breathe into your heart as the liquid violet flames collect in the heart space. And then as you exhale with your out breath, push that liquid purple liquid fire through that cord, wherever it may be, into the first location. And continue to breathe with each breath like a bellow, breathing in, sucking in that liquid fire into your heart, exhaling, pushing that liquid fire through that cord into that place. And whether it's a cube or it opened up into some other fractal little pocket, you're just going to fill that whole place. If it's not like a container where it's like just an image, you fill it up like you're coloring it in with a crayon, where you like literally everything, like as it goes in, everything will turn into that purple liquid, purple fire. It might do different things, and just observe as you fill it up. Notice how you feel in your body. Notice if the scenery changes in the image. Notice the cord. Does the cord shift from what it looked like at first into something different? Continue to breathe with each breath, pushing that liquid fire through that connection until the whole location fills up and there's a backflow. It'll only take as much. Think of it like a container with the cube. When you fill it up, it can only take so much, and then it'll backflow back through the cord, and you'll have a full, complete fill. Notice how that feels. And then once again, we're going to take 5 minutes to do the other two locations. If you haven't started it, you can, where we're going to identify the cord, how it feels, what it looks like, where it's to, making a mental note of all of that, confronting it, and then breathing in through your heart, pulling the liquid fire from Saint Germain behind through your body into the location. The same way that we're connected and you're in training through me, when we work with these ascended masters, these ETs, they have certain abilities and frequencies, and they're in training too. By working with them a few times, then those frequencies and those programs are built in your auric field. By working with them directly, they give us their abilities. The idea of calling someone for something because you can't do it yourself, that only goes so far before it becomes subjugation. They are so willing to give you their abilities when you call upon them. And so we, once again, like training wheels, they'll help us until we can sustain it on our own. At a certain point, your Merkaba, your auric field, will be able to sustain these things on its own. I'm going to take 3 more minutes to finish filling them up. When it is complete and everything is filled with purple, you can give me a thumbs up. You can also, when they do fill up and you do your thumbs up, you can also, once again, on the screen, light the whole screen up with the fire to burn away and collapse those holograms. All right. All right. And so we're going to take another 30 seconds. If you have not finished and if things are still filling and taking the time, once again, take your time. If you only get through half of them or 2/3 or whatever, you can always go back and do more on your own by listening back to the recording. So next, we're going to, on the screen, we're going to create another lineup of holograms. This time, the holograms are going to be smaller cubes. They'll be much smaller. And these cubes, whether they're white or they're clear boxes, they're containers, it's totally okay, it doesn't matter. Once you've got those 3 cubes, these 3 cubes are going to represent physical objects. These might be things that someone gave us, gifts, or something that we hold near dear to our heart that we've collected that we feel like we can't do without. Certain things, we collect because they hold sentimental value, but some of those things have energies. Things pick up energy, like I was talking about the crystals. And so sometimes these things, even though we love them, might not be serving us. They might have an unhealthy relationship with these objects. I'm going to download the light codes for the three objects in your life that are disharmonic or not serving you, that you've got an unhealthy connection to. I'm going to pull those up for you in three, two, one. Kruna shatraya itaraya sakaraya sananaya iaya shakuruara shataranaya kurua triya kinani shatriya sakaraya shakaraya sutrunua taraya yakara. Just observe as the cubes shift into your objects. First, noticing what they are. Sometimes it's shocking or like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be that, but just observe without judgment what these objects are. They might be something near and dear, or they might be something that seemed like random, but they've got a connection. They might be also someone else's object. It might be a partner's object, a family member's object that might have energy on it that isn't harmonic. Sometimes this is where like the idea of hauntings where energy fields can like attach to things, and sometimes there could be an energy field or something disharmonic on an object that we don't know about, and so whatever it is, we observe it without judgment. And then next, what's going to happen is we're going to bring our attention to the cords connecting us to these objects. We're going to pull those cords up in three, two, one, and notice where they connect. They connect to the heart, to somewhere on the body, on the limbs, to the chakras, to the throat. Notice where they connect, to the third eye, to the brain. And then once we notice where they connect, we're going to notice the quality. How do these cords look? Are they chains? Are they ropes? Are they something else? Something other than divine? Believe it or not, I've had a couple where they were divine and it was just they didn't have enough objects, so they pulled up three and one of them ended up being divine, and that was because it was a lesson in discernment. So, if it looks great and the cord and the connection feels loving and from your heart and not from some other ego-based thing in your body, then we'll leave it. But yeah, we want to identify the object, where it's attached, and the quality and how it feels. That cord, the connection, where it's connected, how does that feel? Does it feel good? Does it feel not good? Does it feel like possession, or does it feel like like the idea of like my precious, where it's like, oh, that's my special thing that I can't live without, that some things we're too attached to. And so just notice what that is. Then we're going to bring our attention to the connection to the back of our heart where Saint Germain is standing behind us, and we're going to breathe into the heart, pulling the liquid plasma frequency light, the violet plasma, into your heart as you breathe in, and then exhale, sending it from your heart through that cord, wherever it may be, through the cord like a pipe into the object. With each breath, like a bellow, breathing in, pumping it. Your heart is a pump. It pumps energy, frequency, breathing in, exhaling, sending it out. The objects tend to fill faster than the locations of the people. And then notice as the backflow happens, what happens to the cord? Does it shift? Does it change? Sometimes it stays the same. Sometimes we can light it up, but the connection, no matter what, can't be transmuted because it's just an unhealthy connection. Sometimes it is what it is, and oftentimes when we notice it doesn't change, that's something that we just need to remove from our life, totally, whether it's a person, place, or thing, and that's for you to determine. But typically, if it changes with the light and the fire, that means that it's salvageable. Like it can be upgraded and doesn't need to be removed. So take some time here and fill all three of the objects, noticing the emotions in the body as they come. The emotions that come in, I know it from the people, places, and things, when we feel them and they feel like they're like overwhelming, you're like, oh wow, I feel that. The violet fire, as it comes into your heart, it'll transmute it. And as you send it, like there's almost like like a like an air flow where it's like when you're pushing it, the inhale, exhale, as the energy moves, it's also clearing the energy. So as you're pushing it out to the heart, it's also pushing it down. So any emotions that come in, they shouldn't stay for too long. You should just be to where you are able to be aware of them. And then as you exhale, they should be pushed down through the tail into the earth so they don't build up. That tail is our grounding. We ground out anything that does not serve us as we transmute. I like to think of the violet flame or the plasma like purple lightning, like flames or like liquid or like lightning, where as it comes through, it needs to ground out. And the lower dimensional frequencies, the densities, the emotions, those things will always ground out first as we breathe the lightning through us. And we just ride the lightning and breathe until the object fills up fully, making mental notes of our connections. And then when you are finished, you may scrub the holograms from the screen, burning them away until the screen is blank. And then from there, we're going to bring our attention to the screen. We're going to disconnect the green beam from your heart to the screen. You notice when you disconnect your heart beam, the screen like powers down, right? And it's the shape. Then we're going to then breathe into the screen again. As you exhale, the screen will collapse back down into that point of white light. And then in your next breath, the white light will fade away. Then we're going to bring our attention back to our physical body and our connection to the Arcturian clearing team and Ascended Master Saint Germain. We're going to send love and gratitude from your heart out to the Arcturian clearing team first. So breathe into your heart, love, gratitude, and exhale it to the, as you exhale out, it'll come out like a shock wave. You'll see them receive it, they'll light up, and then they'll leave on their own. They might beam up or they might just dematerialize. Once they dematerialize, then we're going to bring our attention back to Saint Germain. And he is going to, we're first going to thank him with love, gratitude, and honor, because it's such an honor to be able to tap into these multidimensional technologies and frequencies. And we're going to send love and gratitude with him. So you can breathe into your heart, exhale, sending it through the back of the heart into his heart. And then he's going to disconnect his beam from his heart from the back of your heart chakra, disconnecting that space folding that he's been doing for us. In three, two, one. And then I'm going to open up a portal for him to exit so you can bid him farewell as he leaves back up into the higher realms. And then I'm going to disconnect the green beam from my heart, from the back of your heart that I first established when we started today. So we always like to, our energetic hygiene, when we connect to people, we always want to disconnect when we're done so we don't leave any doors open. Very good. When we're activating our higher self and our temples to Mother Earth and the divine union XYZ, we don't have to shut those down. Those can stay open because we want to embody those as long as possible. They will, the more you do them, the longer they will stay. And eventually your pillar will always be active if you do it every day because it builds and it creates frequency. So we can just allow those to be, if they disappear and you're unaware of them, you can always activate them again. This is why we practice this daily. And then I'm going to have you breathe into your heart, exhaling into your eyes, into your heart, out into your eyes, and then into your heart, out into your eyes. And then when you are ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome back. How are we feeling? How are we doing?
Feel great. A lot
Good.
happened. I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, if you're willing and able and you'd like to, I'd love for you to share your experience, whether it was visual or you felt it. You don't have to go in too much detail. Sometimes things they're personal and they don't want to be shared, but just whatever you would like to share would be great. Just to talk about your experience.
What blew me away was the texture of the chords before and after. Yeah, it was incredible. They were disgusting, so much so that I felt nauseous. And yeah, they were really ugly and disgusting, and they smelled awful, and they were sticky and tacky, and it's like full of vile stuff. I don't even know what it was. And
Mhm.
then after that, they crystallized and I actually felt it and saw it. I freaked out. I loved it. I loved it.
Well, and so this is why. So we know we're doing the work properly when. So like, and this is why. And I hold this stuff so near and dear and true to my heart. The whole idea of opening the heart sphere and connecting the pillars. When you plug in to the grids, like you get access to your psychic senses, and things become so clear. And it's like I know that happened because I had this whole experience where it was this, then this happened, now it's this, and then I feel like there's all these things that like let you know that the work is done. It should never be like, well, did I make that up? Or did like, was that, you know what I mean? Like when we're having these experiences, like they should be so crisp that it's like, wow, I had that experience. There are also times some people are not visual where like they feel it, they know. I know somebody that cannot visualize where they're like, I can't see it, but they can tell you everything about a thing down to all the colors and the textures and everything. They just can't see it, but they know all about it. I'm like, it's the same thing. When I say, what do you see? It's like, however it's coming through, whether you're smelling, feeling, knowing. For me, I'm very visual. So I get an image, but then I'm clairsentient to where I see an image, or it might be a movie, but I know all of what it means. Like comes in like a cognition. But some people are more where they feel it's this with a blend. And so everyone is like a snowflake. We're all a little bit different. So however it comes in for you or me or Larissa might be different, but it's going to be similar, right? In the process. And so great. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you. And like I said, if there are ones like we do three of each just to start. So you have an idea, right? So it's like we can see the difference, the contrast, because it's like if we do just one, it's like, well, will it be different? Doing multiple ones gives us contrast and gives us multiple experiences. If you weren't able to do all three, it's okay. You can go back in. Now that you have this practice, you can go in and do this until people stop showing up on the screen, right? You have all these people in your life from now, since you were little, you go like, and so here's the magic word. Your consciousness, your higher self is the one that's doing it. Calling your higher self in is like the orchestrator that makes all this magic happen once you're in the space. I know right now I'm directing, but it's like when you direct yourself or when you listen to it from the recording, your higher self is going to be the one that does it. So you'll hear me say it, but you can in your mind, when we have the screen up and we're asking for you create the holograms, what I say is show like so these are the magic words. Show me what I don't know, or show me who
Uh,
is affecting me most, right? So when you do it like that, and it's like a Google search, when you say what's the most or which one is affecting me like this or that, like you're gonna get the one that is meant for you. And I learned that is the most powerful way when I do past life clearing stuff on people. Like you got so many past and parallel lives. Which one are we trying to heal from?
yeah,
I call up the one that is affecting you negatively the most, right? Because that's the one that is like the biggest one. So you always work backwards and the ones that are affecting you the most, and then you go down the line to the ones that are least. But you do it with people, places, objects. You can do it with collectives. Some people like the church or like ideology or different things like that. You'd be surprised the things that we have trauma around. Some people grow up in really weird situations that I'm not saying that they're weird, but to what one person experiences, they might think that's weird. That might be someone's normal, but that thing that they think is normal might be the indoctrination, might be the programming that they need to escape from, right? There are people that grow up in, I was just seeing a thing where like this girl like grew up in like a satanic like cult or whatever, where they're like sacrificing, and she like they think this is normal because this is I grew up eating people. Like this is my life. It's traumatizing, but this is and they don't see things as that's of course a very big extreme, but there are things that we don't realize. And did anybody have, and I want Larissa, you to share your experience next. Did anyone, the people, the objects, the place that showed up, not that they weren't unfamiliar, but did you not expect, did anyone show up that you didn't expect it to be, or was it someone that you thought it might be?
the
No,
people like I
it
expected.
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
For me it was weird because I pretend like three people,
Uh-huh.
I assume, and then it just showed me not that one, it's
Uh-huh.
that one,
Oh,
you
so so
know.
it so it was
Uh-huh,
so I see. So the ego thinks it's these people, but
uh-huh,
then when
uh-huh,
it came up, it
uh-huh.
was
Yeah, and it's in the end, it's not what you're thinking,
right.
just everything. I say, oh wow, it's it was like changing,
So, and this is what's beautiful about the consciousness, and this is where we start to we differentiate from the ego. And this is why like when a thing shows up, you always just observe like you're watching a movie from a point of non-judgment, right? Because when something shows up and we think it's something else, then the ego and the mind starts analyzing. And guess what? When you start thinking and analyzing, you go back into the beta brainwave state and you knock yourself out of the whole procedure. So when it happens, you're just like, oh, it's that. Okay, I see it for what it is. Go through the process without judging it. Just be present. Because and it's beautiful that it was that you were like, oh, it's these one, and then your conscience is like, nope, it's actually these, and you're just like, oh, okay, and just go through it without fighting it, right? Because your consciousness will show you exactly what you need, and sometimes it's what we need to see, not what we want to see sometimes, and that's a magical
Yeah,
thing.
and also when you said, violet flame and love, it's, all tensions, everything start to change. You can feel inside, like it's go from disappointment to love, and it's not from you. It's just like it's changing, and you can
And
feel it. Yeah.
so what's really special and important about this is that sometimes the way that we feel about a person isn't our feelings. Like, believe it or not, there are people you're close to that can be a best friend or a loved one that they secretly hate you or they're envious or they're jealous or like it's all just a facade because you benefit their life in some way and the emotions that you feel towards them like is really how they feel towards you and you're just picking it up and you don't understand why you feel a certain way or it's like polluting your energy, but like you don't know why and you can't put your finger on it and it's because of those emotions that aren't yours, they can be affecting you. And so what you were saying when you're feeling it happen and changing the emotions, like sometimes what needs to be transmuted is the emotions in them, bringing it into a higher octave for them. And so what's so beautiful about this multidimensional stuff, we when we were working with Merkaba and these ascended masters, like okay, magic is magic, right? So what I call magic is using your consciousness to alter reality, right? So using your consciousness to make changes in your reality, whatever that is, right? And so then we have white magic and black magic. And the difference in that is service to others, where you are using your consciousness to help yourself and others ascend, heal, right? And you're not doing it to control, you're doing it for the greatest good. And then people can use their consciousness to control, constrain, use for their own benefit and their own gain. This is what we call black magic. And the difference is frequency, right? So they're both magic. And the idea is I heard this yesterday in an X-Men movie. I usually say a hammer is a tool, and a hammer can either build a house or smash a skull, but it's still just a hammer, right? Guns don't kill people, people kill people, right? And I saw yesterday in the movie X-Men, Professor Xavier gives the girl a pen, and he's like, "It's just a pen." He's like, "No, this is a gift, and this gift can either draw a beautiful picture or poke someone's eye out." And I saw that, and I was like, "Ah!" I was like, "Yes,
Yeah,
that's that." And I was like, I just makes me laugh that the people that make this stuff like truly do know what they're talking about. But that's what it comes down to is that our abilities are gifts, and the way that we're operating is through the Merkaba. The Merkaba is comes from unity, right? So when you are using any type of a manifestation or like spell work or different manifest like the secret, that's through the brain, right? It's polarized, right? It's in the lower dimensional realms. When you're using objects like candles or these certain things, you're tethering it to the world, which is dual and polarized. When we use our Merkaba, it's from unity, which comes from the heart, right? The other one is still manifesting to the brain through the third eye, but because it's polarized, you'll get what you want, but then you also get what you don't want, and it typically will knock out and it'll neutralize. Where when you manifest with the Merkaba, or you do this work with the Merkaba, it happens from the unified field with love. So you're able to make changes for the highest good. And once again, your higher self is talking to theirs. So if it's not meant to happen, it won't, right? Because if it's breaking their free will or if it's not good for them, the change won't happen, right? But when it does, it's because we're operating from love. And the difference is there's no karma. When you just do things with your energy, like, and this is the idea of you don't just heal people. Believe it or not, like, and this is why you have to ask your higher self, like when someone wants a healing, is it appropriate to heal them? Because guess what? That person might have lived 1,000 lifetimes to accrue all that karma to be in this point of suffering just so they can learn their lessons in this incarnation and be able to heal themselves. By you doing it for them, you just spiritually bypass them, and now they just lived 1,000 lives for nothing. And that is considered black magic. Healing someone against their will is considered black magic. And so like this is where when we operate through the Merkaba and through love, we can make changes without accruing karma. And this is the difference between the third and fifth dimension when we're doing this work. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this is all such amazing stuff. And the more we do this stuff, working with Saint Germain, at first they're putting the frequencies into you, and it's like I said, it's like one car jump starting another. They're assisting, and then you're doing the work. You're using your energy field to do the work, right? And so you're in training. He's bringing them in. You're using them. They're imprinting, and you might be able to do it on your own next time without him. Try it again. When you get the recording, listen to the recording, make the connections, bring your attention to all the things that we did the same way as I guided. Do it a few times. These recordings are meant to be as training wheels, right? You use them until you internalize them and memorize them. Then you do them on your own from memory. It is like, I know it feels amazing when I'm doing the light language, all these different things, because it's happening for the first time, but there's nothing more powerful when you can recreate that on your own without me or without the help. When you can expand your sphere and then you call Saint Germain and then you feel him show up and you're like, it's happening, it's happening.